Well, hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hold on, let me move this so it doesn't spill. I'm gonna just move it just out of the way. You come in.
Yeah. Can I
Okay.
sit back?
And so today we are going to be talking to Brooke. Can't wait. And she has an amazing website. She is a celebrity wedding planner, and I have all my stuff here. I have my wedding dress in the back.
Your husband?
My husband. So my wedding was successful. Like what? Like
the least important thing.
19 long years ago.
Damn,
It's been that long.
We're coming up
So,
on 20
we're almost
20 years next year.
Yeah, this June 1st will be our 19th year wedding anniversary.
Hey, I think I feel an earthquake.
Yeah, that's me stomping on your foot. So we're just gonna wait for Brooke to join us here. I got my coffee. Oh, you didn't put any vodka.
I never put it
God,
in.
want me to be sober or something?
Silly. I stopped putting the cream in it because Colombian Mafia says F that cream.
Well, but this is sugar-free, so I don't know what you're saying.
Did you put some in it?
Yep.
Oh, I made it black. And there we go.
So we are waiting for Brooke Heflin to join us. She is a celebrity wedding planner. And where's all my little notes that I wrote down? I wrote down a bunch of them right here.
Oh.
So I was on the Knot and all this stuff looking at...
What's the knot?
The Knot is a website for getting married. So anybody that's getting married knows about the Knot. It was like one of the first websites ever made for, your weddings. And so it goes through...
Is it like NOT?
No, it's KNOT. God.
It's the knot.
Listen, you want to give me half and take a walk? You can go right. You want to give me 95% and take a walk?
It's the half.
Right. 95. Okay. So I have questions for Brooke. We'll go over them all about how to check for a wedding planner. When she joins us, she will let you know what the difference between a wedding planner and what I heard for the first time, which is a day of, a coordinator, day of, or day of event coordinator, which I never even heard of. We had a wedding planner.
Name's changing?
No, that's like somebody who just swoops in the day of and just makes sure everything is... But you do everything yourself, so who would want that? I mean, I wouldn't want...
If you notice that Sarah loves this topic, right? I mean, she has books and has been cutting things.
What are you talking about? No, I've got my little thing. I'll show Brooke when she gets on here, but look, we were supposed to get married.
Wait, you have a book of what the men should look like?
We were supposed to get married in the year 2000, and somebody almost 20 years ago was getting cold feet. And of course, here he is sitting here, so don't ever give up on your man,
Cold feet.
And he's like, I still want to be with you, but I just don't know if I'm ready. I'm like, look, you don't have to be ready now. You just have to be ready a year from now because I need to plan this damn wedding. So the rest is history. But, and also we were going to get married in between second year and third year of medical school. And that was like kind of crappy because he was in Florida and I was in Michigan. And it just didn't make sense for us to get married and then on Sunday night split and then be 2 years apart or whatever, a year apart. So...
Give me to change my plans.
Oh, shush.
As usual.
This is pre-Pinterest and I made my little lookbook of all these things, of what I had. And where is Brooke? And so I had everything. It's a lookbook, but it has everything for all different kinds of party favors, to all different kinds of, chair backs and things like that, to really there's just so much stuff in here, to table decorations and, hors d'oeuvres and things like that. So I flagged what my wedding looked like. I went through it today and I was like, that's what I picked for my tables. That's what I picked for this. And we even have our wedding album here, which we haven't cracked in 19 years. So I did get the dust off of it. And, oh wait, there's Brooke. Brooke, I see you. Burlap and Bordeaux. Okay, so Brooke, see in the bottom right corner, let me see if I can do something here to Justin, how do we do that? Where we
send a request?
is it this one? Questions? No, that's not it. Is it this one? Yeah, right here. Burlap.
Really?
What? What?
Really?
Should we show them that photo of you?
I don't think so.
So Brooke is going to be joining. So Brooke, I just sent you an invitation if you're listening. I am waiting for you to join. Look at me.
There's two of them in here?
What? So we are waiting for Brooke to join.
Babies.
Oh my God! This is a wedding, our wedding photo from almost 20 years ago, 19 years ago. Look at us. This is as soon as we were done and we're walking off our little thing. Brooke says, "Send it again." Okay, Brooke, I'm going to cancel that. No problem. And let me just do this. We will get this all set. Whoops. Here we go. Send request. Okay, so we're going to get it done. Also, for all of you guys that are listening, we decided to do the code Brooke20 for 20% off our entire YovinoMD skincare line. So if you're getting ready for your wedding and you want to look amazing and you want medical grade skincare, you can get 20% off any item on our website, which is YovinoMDskincare.com. So we are just waiting for Brooke. So Brooke, where are you? Uh-oh. It says expired. Sorry, try once more. Girl. Okay. Okay, let's see. So Brooke, why don't we try something different? Look at the bottom of your screen. Do you see how there's like a plus in a square? Press that and see if you can join, request to join. So try that. Or I could send you the request again, but I don't know why it's saying it's expired. So do you want to try that and see if it works? Blah, 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 blah. I guess if not, so I will do that. What? Hold on. Okay, let's try this one more time. And Brooke, you're supposed to be on the Burlap and Bordeaux. I think you are because I see it. Burlap and Bordeaux Instagram. So it says waiting for you. Perfect. And there is a little delay from what you're hearing and what I'm saying, just so you know. And a little delay. Your comment to me is almost instantaneous, but there's a delay back. So let's see. She should be on any minute. Brooke. Okay, so we are talking, we're going to be talking about Brooke. Brooke is a wedding planner, which is different from she does full service. So we'll go over all that, what that means. But she basically handles trying, it's not working. Okay. Justin, how do you join? How do you do it? How does she request? I've requested her multiple times.
I'm not sure. Let me just come on and see.
Try to request. Go to the bottom. Okay, you join.
Yeah, it says join.
Send to. So Brooke, why don't you get off the Instagram? No, don't do it your personal. Go off Instagram, and then come back on with your profile. Oh wait.
No, that's me.
Oh, that's you.
I just wanted to see if it.
Oh, so how did you just do that? How did you send a request?
Because it just gave me the option. Hey, do you want to join us? But
okay.
No request.
So Brooke, go back to your Burlap and Bordeaux one, and I see Justin's request. So go back to your Burlap and Bordeaux and see if it prompts. Wait, what is that? That's you, Justin. Okay. Brooke, go back to the other one. I don't want to do your personal. Hold on. That's you. Yes, let's get this party started. I hope this isn't how the weddings are. No, I'm kidding. You know what? But this is a prime example that even with weddings, nothing goes as perfectly as planned. And if you don't want to end up in an ambulance with hives all over you, like some girl from my hometown, then you just let things happen as they may.
What does that mean?
Well, because that was our stepsister, and this one girl from my hometown, she was such a bridezilla that she broke out in a rash, and they had to call an ambulance, and it was like a disaster for the day of her wedding. But
Isn't it great? I'm looking at the wedding book,
he has never ever looked at our wedding album.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
And for those of you that spend a lot of money on a wedding album, like
unbelievable.
Yeah. See?
I mean, I've never seen it.
20 years after the day.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
this is how, seeing it for the first time.
Look at that. Look at Mom and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, there she is. Yes, go live. We are here. We're going to be here any second with Brooke. Yay!
Hi. Sorry.
Okay.
The technology is a little new for me. Sorry about that.
Yay! How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Hi.
Hi.
So you're just clean the front camera on your phone, just because it looks like maybe there was a little. Like,
Is it let's try that.
It's a little blurry.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Hi.
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 So welcome. Look, I got my wedding dress, from almost 20 years ago, hanging in the back for you.
Beautiful.
Flowers. We got our wedding album.
I love it.
I was telling people I had this lookbook that was pre-Pinterest, mind you, and it has like everything, like chair backs and different like ways of decorating favors.
Wow.
And everything that you can think of. And so I highlighted some things, and I used it where I went to my person and was like, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. Like this was an inspiration for some of my tables. See that really like bright, vibrant. So we did that with, I don't know if you can show a picture of our tables, but we did that with little bud vases and then a big crystal candelabra with little baby yellow orchids in between. But that became part of like my thing. And then I had this big peony bouquet. It would be funny to kind of look at my inspirational photos and match it with that and see what they were a success on and whatever. But let's talk all about you.
Thank you. How are you? How's everything going? And now that I'm finally here.
Yay, good. So we wanted to talk to you, and I was kind of touching on it before you got on, was, I know when we were talking early and you're like, I said something about a wedding coordinator, you're like, what? Wait a second. I am not a coordinator. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? So why don't you explain the difference between a wedding coordinator and a planner, event coordinator, whatever go ahead.
Okay, so event coordinator is going to be your run of show. They're going to run down your timeline, make sure that everything goes well behind the scenes on the day of. Now, for a planner, or what I'm a designer, I'm making sure that I'm actually handling the entire production of all the details from the wedding. So all of the power, lighting, invitations, everything that you see, smell, hear, touch, all of that. So food, beverages, menus, visual, florals, everything. We basically design and work with all of our vendors to make sure that it's all being produced perfectly and seamlessly so that the day is just flawless.
So one of the questions that they had, I went on the knot of like the top questions you want to ask your planner and when you're doing the interview process. So one of them was, and I thought that was kind of interesting. It was about invitations specifically. And it was, do you handle the invitations? Do you pick them out? Do you do all the wording of it? Do you address them and mail them? And do you also handle the RSVP? Do you do all that?
I have.
Okay.
So most recently, I would say almost all of my clients at this point pretty much trust my vision, and they know what we're going for overall. So they pretty much allow me to design all of their invitations and then that all is represented in the overall wedding as well. So it's a theme, and obviously they're involved in that process because they're the ones that are saying, yes, I like that, or no, I don't. And then I personally have worked with a couple of designers that do papery, which is like your menus, your stationery. And I've picked them up. I've sent out the invitations. I've put the stamps on. I've done it all, but it's pretty much custom to each client to what we need to do to get it done.
So let's talk about planning. What's the ideal time frame? What's the shortest amount of time that you'll be able to come on board and whip something together? And what is like the normal time frame if someone's getting married and they're like, you know what, I'm really too busy and I need someone to help me plan this thing? What's an ideal time for them to get in touch with you?
The shortest amount of time is I can pull it together in a week or two at the most, if needed. We've done that. Ideally, I would say at least 3 months. And in a perfect world, a year would be great. But every situation is different. And especially now in this world of COVID, we are just adjusting and making it all work.
Okay, great. How many times, you know, I guess if you're whipping it together in 1 week, you're really not meeting with them that much. But what can they expect if it's like 1 year out? How many times they would be meeting with you?
So most of the time I'm actually destinations. So most of my clients, I might not even meet with them until the day of.
Oh.
So I do a lot of renderings online. So I do Photoshop renderings so that they can see visually what things are going to look like on the day of. And it's really interesting because this last wedding we did last weekend, I went back to compare what the rendering looked like versus the actual day, and it was almost spot on. And it's kind of a very satisfying feeling.
Do you have like, for instance, if it was like a very secretive wedding or one where it involves like you're worried that cameras are going to be coming in, like how have you handled that? Helicopters and cameras and.
So we're really good at pretty much understanding what scenarios are going to happen, A, B, C, D, and E. So we're ready for every scenario. So if we know that that's going to be a possibility, then we're making sure that we have lots of privacy, we have security, we have everything, a lot of communication. But in every scenario, we already planned for every possible scenario.
Do you meet with them first, like in a kind of a consultation and sort of pick their brain of what vision they had? Like, do they want like a barnyard theme party, or do they want a super duper elegant party, or do they want there's so many, you can go anywhere with a wedding these days, you know, for the most part.
It's true. And it's funny because some clients will be like, I know exactly what I want. This is what's going to happen. And I will put that together in the proper way to make sure that that's being executed well. And sometimes we'll go totally right field and say, okay, we're going this way, but next thing you know, we're going a totally different direction. So it's really interesting. I just get a sense from when my clients start to tell me what things they like. I have a lot of communication with them. So I tell them, you know what, don't be afraid to text me pictures. Send me a Pinterest photo, send me an Instagram photo, something that you like, because that right there with all my experience can tell me what they are going to ultimately lean towards in the end.
And most of them pick out their own bridesmaids outfits and own wedding dress and stuff like that? Or are you involved in that as well?
Pretty much involved in everything. And I tell them, I go, I love you, but please let me be involved with everything so I can help guide. And ultimately it's their decision, but I'm there to say, okay, this is what's timeless and this is what's going to be on trend for now, but maybe in 10 years might not be the most
popular. You're almost like the mother of the bride. Well, for every wedding, you know?
The fairy mother of the bride.
Logical.
And right. What would you give it if there was a bride coming up? What would you give them advice for the secret for staying calm during this big event?
So
pressure.
There's a few things. Ultimately, it's really important that I keep reminding people what the overall goal is for the wedding. This is not
right?
Just, yeah, hi, yeah. It's not just the day. The wedding day is great. It's fantastic. And obviously that's my job, but it's to remember the fact that you're getting to marry your partner for the rest of your life. And you don't want to get wrapped up in all the details that you start to forget that. So I love
remind you every day after that.
Right? You're so lucky. But it's also really important for people to understand, you know, I always encourage my couples to do what's called a first look, where you get to see your partner before walking down the aisle.
Well, isn't that bad luck though?
Mm-mm.
No.
It maybe in some
because
cultures.
Then they don't cry as soon as they see them or something like that. They kind of get that out of their system.
There's a psychology behind it. So I have my degree in psychology. What happens is if you wait to see your partner until they walk down the aisle, all of that emotion has been built up. And then next you know it, you have 200 eyes staring at you and you can tend to check out. So here's that big special moment and you don't remember it anymore because you've checked out. It's too much. So what happens is if you have that first look, it's just you two. So it's very special. And what's nice is now it's kind of taken the edge off. So now you're fully present and now you get to walk down the aisle and you still have that same emotion, but now you're fully present. You no longer have those giant emotions hitting you and you're excited and you get to really connect. So you still get the tears, you still get all that, but you're really remembering that moment.
Now, I know some people like pictures before the actual wedding because everyone's looking their freshest and their best and get it out of the way. And some people like taking the photos after the actual wedding. I think we did our photos before, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We did ours before because, you know, we just wanted to celebrate after. What do you recommend? What do you think is best?
So one of the biggest things that I've noticed over the years is I hate having to pull away my clients from their wedding. They want to be a guest too. So just like you said, I love for them to take all the pictures beforehand, get it done, and then they get to go be present and have fun. So I agree with that. I think that's fantastic.
Do you give them advice like, don't drink? Or because there have been some disasters.
I always tell them, try not to drink too much, but I already know that's going to happen anyways. So I've started having to recommend get your IV bag either the morning of or the night before, because I already know that they're going to. So it's like my little secret trick. Like we're sending the IV bags to all the guys at 11 o'clock. So they'll be fresh and awake. And then we're going to shove a bunch of food down their throat. Let's go. And they're good.
A bunch of juveniles we are.
It's okay. It's okay. You're happy. You're having fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You can give a little pacifiers too.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy.
How involved is the groom usually in the planning? Because this one was not involved like at all.
It's okay.
We tried to go register for gifts together and I was like, just go. And he's like, I'm going to go. And at that time, music stores were still open. It was 20 years ago. And so
God damn, you remember everything.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to the music store. I'm like, fine, go. And so then I just was like, registering for everything by myself. But it was probably better that way.
Honestly, it's almost comical because the registry, it's like you know, the guys are off with the registry gun going like pew pew, you know, ready to just play with the gun versus they don't care. So
Yeah, we don't give a shit.
And what about, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but what about a groom's cake?
I actually appreciate a groom's cake. I feel like it's not done enough. I wish it was, because I feel like it's something that's more special and fun. But we've done some cool ones over the years. But we need to bring that back.
Did you just hear that?
What do you say?
Do you have strippers on top of that cake?
Popping out.
Spoken like a true married man.
Uh-huh.
God.
Where's Charlie? Where's Gary? Where's the cake?
I was actually just on the phone with them.
Something else.
I was just on the phone with them, and I'm like, I'm going live with Brooke. You guys need to join us. They're like, live on what? I said, Instagram. They're like, oh, well, we don't even have
We don't
Instagram.
have that.
I'm like, what do you mean you don't have Instagram? So Charlie's trying to download the app, and he couldn't figure it out. And he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm like,
It's okay.
okay.
It's better.
Right. So you already answered this question. You handle the rentals, the coordinating deliveries, the setup times, the photographer, florists, musicians, banquet, managers, if you guys do it at a banquet or whatever. How many staff, like just to give someone an idea, they have you hired, but you're not the one running around doing everything for the whole thing. So do you have, like how much staff is the minimum number that they will also need to hire the day of?
So usually they don't have to worry about that, or they shouldn't, but there is a lot of staff involved. So my team personally, there's probably at the minimum about 5 to 6 at the minimum. And then with all the other staff, you've got catering staff, you've got the power staff, lighting. So I would say you're probably going to be about 30 at the minimum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you have one person that's just on the bride, one person that's just on the groom, and then someone doing florists and, you know, whatever. You have like people spread out, like doing other things?
Well, funny enough, was last weekend we had a wedding, a micro wedding, and we had a friend of mine who is a insanely talented makeup artist, and he turned into like the right hand of the bride. I was like, just make her happy, and he was perfect at that. I mean, he's perfect at everything, but he was perfect at that. Then I have my specific person, my Robert, who's amazing at florals, and so he's in charge of the floral team. And they all know what my overall vision is. I've showed them photos. They know exactly what I'm bleeding, trying to get everything done. So they're the ones that are in charge of each separate area, basically.
And how do you select your vendors? Is it just based on experience? Have you ever had one that it was so bad you had to call another one at the last minute? You know, like how do you, because I know even being with you out to dinner one night, we were in a restaurant in Manhattan Beach, that Greek restaurant, which I can't think of the name, but I'm sure you know it. And the owner came over and was so excited to like really connect with you in person, because you guys have really worked together on many, many weddings, and their food's amazing. So is it based on your own personal experience eating at certain restaurants, knowing what the food and the menu is and how they could be in catering? Like, how does that work?
I pretty much pay attention to everything at all times. And so I'm always meeting people. And if I meet someone who's passionate and hungry and tells me that they have something, I will support them and in their craft. And then if they help me with an event and I see that they're really good, then I'm going to keep referring them, and so on and so on. So over the years, I've developed really good relationships with all my vendors, and I know who's a good fit for each wedding, and I can trust them, and that's really, really important.
What was the furthest destination wedding you ever handled?
Argentina.
Wow. Had you ever been there before?
Once previously. That's an incredible, special place, which we should all travel to, by the way.
Yeah. And so okay, so you go to Argentina, do you fly in the whole crew, or how do you handle it? You have to probably source local people.
Yeah, I made friends over there, and that's the thing is I try to make friends no matter where I go, because then I hire them basically to help me source and be my hands until I can get there. And so I have them helping me, and then I start to work with wherever I am, and then I fly in a lot of things myself. So I'll bring what I need to bring, and then we've also flown a lot of the vendors in too. So that helps.
What would you say the most unusual place that anyone ever wanted to get married? I mean, I know things are probably weird with COVID or whatever, but before all that, was there ever like a really unusual?
Unusual? I know it's there.
Because one of the trends, so I was looking at these like
underwater,
2020,
up in the air.
Yeah, 2021 trends, and one of them was there's backyard weddings, there was unexpected venues, and one of them was like on a boat. And our friends got married on a boat
Mm-hmm.
in the Bahamas, Harbor Island, Bahamas.
Yeah, that's a big trend for sure. There's actually some new locations that are happening everywhere, but definitely there's a few that I know of in Santa Barbara that are starting to take off to do private events. So that's going to be a new thing.
And what Santa Barbara, like vineyards or what?
Well, the boats, yes, but also a lot of vineyards, a lot of private estates. That's been very, very common for this upcoming year and next. What else? I would say the vineyards are the most popular, but the estates are really becoming the next thing.
You got space travel coming up here soon.
There we go. Let's go.
You're going to be in low orbit.
Think about how expensive that's going to be.
Oh.
Let me see what else. And then, so you probably, I'm sure, also plan the timeline of the wedding, the actual ceremony day of, at this time it's going to be the wedding, at this time it's going to be the first dance, the cutting of the cake, you do all that.
Yeah, I'm really proud of my timelines actually, because I understand how the natural progression and the flow of events go, because if you're a guest, you don't want to constantly be corralled. It's frustrating. It's annoying. So you just want to go and be with your people and have fun. So I understand what the natural progression of an event is. So it has to make sense so that guests are going to feel like they want to go into the next thing. And also with that, things tend to sometimes run behind. So my timeline is always created to be able to catch up time if something runs behind. But yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I'm really proud of.
And what do you think of like some people get married in a different location than the actual reception?
Yes.
Do you like that? No, I mean, maybe not like that because it's a lot of moving and logistics, but what's your recommendation if someone's like, look, what do you recommend?
If they don't mind providing transportation, then that's fine. I ultimately love when everything's all in one location because of the ease on the guests. Again, I love my clients, but I ultimately just want to make sure that their guests are really happy too. So I try to think of it from their perspective. And again, being corralled, being herded around, it's not the most fun thing. But if it's a fun experience, then it works. So I have a transportation company that we work with often in Santa Barbara, and they're really good at making the guests have a really good time. So when people get onto their buses, there's a party on that bus and they're having a blast. And what I love is that they're in communication with me, letting me know, okay, bus A is in this location. All right, we just dropped off this many people. We're heading this location. You know what I mean? So we're all working as a team.
Did you handle the buses going from the wedding to the cruise ship at Charlie and Gary's?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. That was a great idea.
Man, I just want to say, because nobody out there
Because she didn't even know that you planned their wedding, and I was like, yeah, we planned their wedding.
Yeah, but that wedding was the best wedding I've ever been to.
Excuse me.
The second best wedding.
The second best.
The second best. But you know what I mean? Like that was, I mean, amazing. It was really out of this world.
It was fun. I mean, I didn't fully plan. Gary has a vision and he knows what he wants and he's good at it. So when I came in, it was more like, how do we make this happen? We need to make this happen in like 4 days. Can you help me wrangle it all in? And we did, and we got it done. And it was just a bunch of really cool vendors and friends and everybody who wanted to support. And it worked out perfect. I didn't sleep for 5 days, but it was fun.
What would you say, just another question, the biggest day of disaster? We just want to hear anything.
Besides me not showing up.
Yeah. Did you ever have a groom not show up or a bride not show up?
No.
What about they couldn't find the wedding ring the day of?
No, because I have methods with that. I make sure, because I'm always checking that, because that happens, like, you know, oh, who has it? So now I'm like, okay, efficient, you get to carry it on your pinky or your thumb, and then that way it's just there when it's needed, not fumbling around.
And you know, when I asked, does anybody object? Have you ever been in a wedding where somebody objected?
No, but I have had like angry guests, and so I just make sure to distract them.
Okay. So I went on the knot, and that's where I got most of the questions, and those are like interview questions of what to ask the planner. But then they were talking about 2021 trends. And so I just wanted to see what you would say would be the newest and hottest and latest trends for 2021 for weddings.
Okay, so right now there's so many fun trends. I have to say this is probably the most exciting year I've had creatively. Even though things are up in the air, it's fine. At least there's an abundance of really fun things. For instance, acrylic signage. I love little details, the details that are actually going to get noticed. So signage, I love acrylic. I'm really obsessed with acrylic right now. Chargers, I love anything custom. So we just custom designed chargers last weekend, and that was cool because nobody else has that.
And you're talking about for the gifts for people, like wedding day gifts? What do you mean chargers?
Chargers are what's on the table underneath where the plate goes. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you meant like cell phone chargers.
Yeah,
Custom made cell phone chargers and give them away as gifts. So you mean like the silver or gold plate that's on the bottom?
Yeah, but now there's so many new options for that. It's really, really cool because, so for instance, this last weekend, we had these custom made ones that were made out of glass that were flat, and I had a custom design printed underneath it. So it was really different and really cool.
Okay. And then that's what the guests would take?
No, that's just for decor.
Oh, just a decorative one. Okay, I thought it was like
still stuck on presents.
Well, because I'm like, give me a present.
We love presents.
What present am I going to walk away with?
You're like, can I take that?
Yeah. and I'm running around chasing everyone. Don't take that. You can take this.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know those arrangements that are there? This is Sarah walking out of wedding.
Oh, please, yes.
Don't be quiet.
We actually designed something special for that because we want guests to take home the flowers. We want everyone. Yes, we do. They can't take the vase, but we have a plastic base in it so they can take it home and essentially put it whatever they want.
We had them take apart the arrangements and make bouquets for everybody walking out.
I love it.
Like cellophane or whatever. But then I also made these glass candles. Whatever. Okay, anyway, so these are some
I helped in that one. I remember
candles?
Yeah, we went
Aww.
So we went around to, I think we got
you have to pick them out.
From different stores, right? Then we get them from thrift stores and all these things, like, and then we went and filled them with the
So we got vintage pressed glass. Actually, I probably have one in
What's that finger?
But anyway, pressed glass, and my underlying theme of the wedding was a very baby yellow color. And so I made baby yellow candles that smelled like vanilla, and then it was wrapped in clear cellophane with a ribbon that was a silk ribbon, half dyed in red dye, and then yellow, and then it bled to orange in the middle. And then I made this tiny card saying, "Thank you for celebrating our special day with us. Love, Sarah and Justin." And then a little flower was a bow, and then a flower was glued on. And that was what people walked out with. And then the flowers were just like a secondary thing because we had,
all those details.
Yeah, I made like 150. Okay, so these are some of the trends that I saw, and you tell me if you agree with it or not. Weekday weddings. They said because 2021, no one could get married. I mean, very few people could get married, and so now all the venues are booked. So the trend is people are getting married during the week. What do you think about that? Yes or no? You like it or don't like it?
I like it because pretty much everyone is excited to get away at this point. So any excuse to travel and take a few days off is very welcome.
So you would recommend that for destination weddings, but not weddings where it would be at same town?
I mean, not everyone's that's coming in is going to be from the same town anyways. So you make it a destination regardless. So if you're all from Miami, then you guys plan a 5-day Miami excursion. It's okay. Like, you just make it a fun weekend regardless.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, some people will be like, well, I got to work. I can't, They can have an excuse if it's there, but if it gets booked in, say, Tampa or Clearwater, somewhere on the other side of the state, no one's really going to be driving home every day.
True. It's true. But if it's on a Wednesday and then you can extend it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then you just make welcome receptions. So people join when they can, but it's not like you have a reserved seat. So you just call them receptions or welcome receptions or whatever. And then you just have food and drinks for whoever wants to join, but you don't make it like an official proper thing.
So with these destination weddings that you plan, since people are plucked out of here, because we went to a destination, my cousin got married in Italy, and they had events every single night. Mm-hmm. This restaurant, this, blah, 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 blah. Do you do all that as well? You coordinate all the events for the entire wedding weekend?
It depends what they want to hire me for.
Yeah. Have you also handled the flights for the guests?
We've handled a lot of details before, but that's like our very, very full service clients who want us to do that. There's a lot of times where clients want me to be involved with a lot, but it's usually mostly wedding related.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So weekday weddings, sustainability, and they were saying like people, instead of paper invites, are sending digital invites, which I don't like because I think I like to feel something, but digital invites and virtual celebrations. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of phasing out because of COVID? What do you think?
Okay, so I'm with you. I love a paper invite. I think it's really pretty. It's a nice detail. But what I've been doing with sustainability is we do a paper invite, paper details card, beautiful set like that, and gorgeous in envelopes, calligraphy, etc. But then the RSVP card we can do online.
Do you recommend for anybody getting married to have a website? And do you handle the website? Do you make the website for them?
I guide them with it. Some clients prefer for me to do it, and I will do it, but most of my clients just do it themselves because it's really easy. But yes, every client, it's the first thing I tell them to do is set up their wedding website, upload every one of their guests on there and their email so that if there's any updates, they can easily just send an update. And then they'll receive a beautiful formal invitation, and then all your RSVPs can be done through the website. So this includes menus, this includes shuttles, this includes the welcome reception. There's a lot of things that they need to RSVP for, so having it online makes it easy.
Brooke 20. I forgot to say, there is a Brooke, for our YovinoMD skincare website, there is Brooke 20, which is 20% off any of our medical grade skincare products. So I just want to mention that really fast. He's going to pin that at the bottom of the page. Okay. So, so website's important. They talked about transformative attire, and that would be dresses worn in multiple ways, throughout the day, if you had that too.
Yes,
I
in fact,
like the picture that I saw. It was almost like a shirt and then a skirt, and then you can take that off and put pants or whatever,
I love that. Actually, I'm getting married next year. I have an overskirt that's like really grand, and then I can take it off, and it's a very sleek dress that way. And I love that because it gives the bride a chance to A, be a little bit more comfortable during the reception, and B, it's like another wow, like a little change.
Mm-hmm. But some people would just wear a traditional wedding dress and then change into a secondary outfit.
Yep.
But is the way that you're doing it just a little easier because part of that secondary outfit is already on?
Yeah, basically that, and the fact that a lot of these new dresses are very, very detailed. So having that, wow, that big grand skirt, you get to have that princess feeling, that big ball gown feeling, and then you get to have that second skirt, but don't necessarily have to have a completely different dress, because a lot of times it's like that dress has such beautiful adornments that you wouldn't otherwise notice unless you switch it up.
Now, one thing that's very important for all brides to know is you must bring a sewing kit to every wedding, because somebody will inevitably step on your dress or rip something, and just make sure you got that extra needle and thread present. Okay, so another thing was 2021 trends for weddings was a DIY beauty look. That brides are no longer going and getting their hair and makeup done. They're doing it themselves, which I don't know why anyone would want to do it themselves, but they're doing it themselves. That they said that was a trend for 2021.
Yeah, I don't recommend that one.
Okay, good. Yeah. Another one was micro weddings, where they're less than 50 guests.
Yeah.
Another one was intimate guest list, and they said that they're downsizing to just their loved ones.
Yeah.
Rather than all these other people. This was mainly all, I think, because of COVID.
Yeah.
And trying to limit. Another one was sequel weddings, which I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, will be you. You got married in 2021 privately, and we'll have a much bigger second wedding reception, because a lot of people couldn't do that.
Yeah. It's fun. I have to say, I actually recommend it, because you got all the jitters out, and now you're just like, I'm ready to just have fun, and you actually kind of
can enjoy it.
Weddings.
Right. You can enjoy the day.
Yeah.
We talked about having a 20-year, like,
yes.
What do you call it? Doing the vows again. But I don't know. I might say no this time. Just kidding. They were also saying backyard weddings, which I'm like, I don't know.
Unless your backyard is an estate, yes.
Right. One of these ones in Beverly Hills that are like, oh, what's that house I just sold for like 130 million? Assigned seating.
Always. I don't care if there's 30 people or 150. You want to sit with your loved one. And when everyone's trying to find a seat, now you're stressed out because you're like, I hope there's enough room for us to sit next to each other. It just takes the stress out of the whole situation. And if you want to trade seats with someone later, that's fine. But it's just to make everyone make sure that they're sitting with the people they want to sit with.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we did assigned actual seats or we just did table numbers.
Yep.
I think we did actual seats. Look, I'm going to show you my inspirational photo, and it did look like this. Hold on a second. Let's see what mine looked like. It looked like, Justin's probably going to pull up the actual original photo. But I loved it, and it was, I can't find it. Oh, yeah, here it is. So it was like this.
Oh,
so
I love it.
peonies, and then it was a round table, and all of the all the people's names were around that circle. And let's see, there will be an entrance. So right at the beginning.
I love the peonies, by the way. That
it didn't look exactly the same.
No.
So we had to use, it was kind of a fail. I'll show you what they did. But we got married at Oakland Hills Country Club in Detroit, Michigan, or in Birmingham, Michigan. We had to use their own thing, and they didn't use peonies, so that was what they did.
Oh, but they use the orchids. That's good. Actually, that's really pretty.
And I like these little heart things.
That's really pretty. Oh my gosh, I love your florals.
I'll show you exactly what we did. But the heart ones were also in my inspirational book too. It was right here. And this doesn't have as much green as mine, but that was it. So I showed her that. I said, I want that on the walls. And so they made the two.
I love it.
Okay, so that was that. Let's see, assigned seating, unexpected venues, I said, on the boat, domestic destinations, which, most people get married locally. A lot of people get married locally. But they were even talking about a tented camp, which I'm like, no one's going to do that.
We thought about that, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, okay, so Matthew
like Birmingham style wedding?
Well, yes and no. It's glamping, and it's actually really glamorous. So Matthew McConaughey did this to his wife, 10 years ago. And it was really cool because they did the glamping style tents, which are so nice. And then you have the bathroom trailers that are right there, and those are just as formal as your restroom at home. So there's ways to do it well, and it's kind of fun, but
that's the ones where they do the beautiful tents and the Persian rugs on the ground.
Exactly. Chandeliers.
Plush, yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing, they said pod seating, and that's where instead of tables of 10 to 12 people, they have tables of 4 to 6. So smaller to limit exposure, I guess. Formal dinner service instead of who does buffets, but formal dinner service. And then they had individualized food displays, and that was somebody had a menu, and they had one of those cone shaped thing, and inside it was maybe some sort of individual food. I don't know. I can't remember what I saw, but it was something in there.
Yeah. So, see, there's Mandy. Mandy, we did her glamping wedding. That was fun, actually. That was nice. Those Airstreams had the best shower. Oh my gosh. I'm still dying. Yeah, they're fancy Airstreams, the nicest Airstreams, the most comfortable bed. I'm telling you, the nicest shower in the Airstream. Yeah, very, very nice. They're auto camp, and they're at Yosemite, Guerneville, and the Russian River. And now they're going to have a new one in Joshua Tree. So I'm dying.
We just were in Joshua Tree. It's so beautiful there.
Definitely. But back to food stations, that is a very popular trend, and that's actually really, really amazing.
Is food stations or individualized food? They were saying, because instead of having the stations because of COVID, people were, some people don't want buffet style or where there are stations because people will be touching the same stuff.
So food stations where there's servers. So basically nobody's touching it, but you can go to each station and that server will serve you from those items. So if you have a pasta station, there's a server that can serve you the pasta, or et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, again, no touching of utensils or sharing anything like that.
Another thing they said was mini wedding cakes. So every single person gets a little wedding cake rather than one big one.
I've been huge on that for the last 10 years, and it didn't catch on as much as I would like it to, but it's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
Because then people take that home as their gift. Some people don't even eat it, and they take that and then sometimes they're wrapped in a clear, almost like an acrylic, but plastic box or something.
I can't pronounce it. It's Claude. I can't pronounce it, but yes, it's a little dome, glass dome.
Oh, those. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But here, I had a picture of that too. So these were the individualized wedding cakes that they showed, but then they had them wrapped like right
Pretty.
there.
Oh, and the fondant. Yes.
Yeah, how pretty those are.
Very pretty. I've always loved like pedophores and all those beautiful desserts. So I'm huge on desserts.
This is what I wanted my wedding cake. It looked prettier in person, but this is what I wanted mine to look like. I just wanted it white because I like the vibrant colors.
Yes.
It has like little tiny details. It looked like that, I would say.
I love the yellow. I love the yellow. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that you did that color because I feel like it doesn't get used enough and it's my favorite.
I just wanted, my main thing was I wanted big flower.
Aww.
This was us.
Oh my goodness, you guys.
I know, we were
The peonies.
Yeah, I did a peony bouquet. So I wanted big flowers like that, and then just really like Moroccan bright, like beautiful colors. They said customized favors, like logoed masks and and sanitizers together, or celebration care packages. If they do a Zoom wedding, then they send out like a gift basket with like baby champagne and sometimes a full food service and everything else that they're shipping out. So they said those were the trends for 2021. But
remember, we went to a wedding where they had stickers that you put on yourself. It said, "I'm a hugger, I'm a fist bumper." Right?
So this was right at the beginning.
I love it.
What was funny is that this was right at the beginning of COVID. And so you'd wear your mask, but you kind of felt weird about wearing your mask. And so when you went to the wedding, nobody was wearing their mask. It was like in
Fresno.
It was what number one was that? That was in,
but it was later. It wasn't right. Right.
But it wasn't like now. Like if I don't wear my mask, I feel a little weird.
No,
because
back
everybody is so ingrained in everyone's mind right now.
October or something?
Was it that late?
Yeah.
No, it was like in June-ish.
That we went to the wedding?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, because they were in town and you came to dinner and stuff like that. Yeah. And then another thing that we were talking about is the whole how to prep for a wedding and what to do and when to get lipo and when to do like your beauty treatments prior to a wedding and things like that. And we talked about all the different services that can be offered and things like that. We talked about IV drip bags.
I love those.
Salicylic acid glow facials. We call it the Hollywood Glow Facial. And then also getting on a really good skincare regimen. And that's kind of where our products came in. And you started using now the Growth Factor.
Yeah.
And you can fill her in a bottle, right? And then so tell us how that's helped you and what you think of that.
Okay, so when I first started seeing you, I had really rough skin. It was very dull. I have rosacea and eczema pretty severely, so that roughness was a huge concern. So then I started using the filler in the bottle, and you also gave me some cream that helps to soothe the skin.
That's intensive recovery cream.
Exactly, yes. So between the two, it's like my skin finally has a subtle glow back again. It's soft, it's smooth. I don't feel like I have that bump and that texture anymore.
Because you've been using them now for how
long? Since right before I got married, so this was back in November.
You started using that in November, but we switched it. When did you start using the newer product? When did you start noticing a change?
Okay, so you started me on the cortisone, the recovery cream. I'm sorry, the recovery cream 2 weeks ago, and that was a huge difference. So that actually really appreciate. My skin.
And then so even in the last 2 weeks, you notice a bigger difference. Hold on, I'm trying to find where he pinned it. He pinned the Brooke 20 for 20% off. Oh, here it is. Okay, so let me pin that. Pin comment. Okay, I know it's at the very end. And then okay. So for 20% off any of the skincare, anyone can go to YovinoMDskincare.com and get 20% off our medical grade skincare. Oh yeah. So this is, our products here. which this one is our ideal. We have a toner, a cleanser, we have retinol, we have something for basically any skin issue that's going on. But we talked about us teaming up for your brides.
Yes.
That we would do a event day in the office and do the bags, the IV drip bags, the salicylic acid. They get a product, and even, you know, a choice of, do they want a deeper skin peel or just a salicylic acid, or just, you know, have a spa day for the
Exactly.
girls. We could also do it for the boys. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, everyone needs it. Even Sven, my now husband, he's not watching, so this is good. We can talk about him. He's big on skincare. Are you kidding? I have him on it, and he's really, really adamant about getting the peels, doing whatever he needs to do to make sure that his skin looks good, because, you know, we want to stay looking as good as we can for as long as we can.
Yeah.
So it's important.
Has he tried the growth factor?
Not yet, but he found it and is now asking me what it is. So I'm like, that's mine.
Was he like, what's this under? Was he like, what's this under your pillow?
Yeah. He was like, wait, you're using something different. Should I be using that? And I'm like, yeah, we'll go get you some.
Yeah. You're like, this is my product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. It's my number one favorite product that I feel like transformed my skin.
Honestly, like I said, just 2 weeks of using this cream, I'm not wearing foundation. I'm actually only using a little bit of concealer here underneath my eyes and a little sheer powder. So it's pretty nice, I have to say.
So cruelty-free, free of gluten, sulfate, formaldehyde, fragrance,
yes.
And parabens. So for people that are concerned about that, for people that say that they've got sensitive skin or problems with their skin, this is, they usually, like 99% don't have problems with it. The only people that have any issues are with our acne pads. Acne pads or no, the brightening pads. And if they go out in the sun. So that's the one thing we say, don't go out in the sun if you're you know, getting sun right here on me. But we tell people not to do that. But anybody that, and also for people that are interested in fillers and Botox before your wedding, make sure you do that at least, you know, a month and a half.
Yeah.
Or to a month before, like say you want your lips done or you want, you know, whatever. Do not wait till the last minute. You know, any, you know, person who does this on a regular basis will tell you, should tell you no, because you can bruise very badly and you don't want to be bruised and, you know, like, can you shut that? Because it's like shining in the face. You don't want to be bruised and all like whatever for your wedding.
Yeah, plus you want it to settle, right?
What's that?
You want it to settle, right?
Right, but also, I mean, if you get, yeah, I guess the crack between the two things. If you get injected, like say someone's smile lines, they want to get injected, or they want to get their lips injected, there can be bruising right here.
Right.
So, you know, inevitably the makeup's going to wear off throughout the wedding. And if somebody wanted like body sculpting before, how long in advance of a wedding would you say?
I mean, 3 months would be great. You know, more than that's even better. But 3 months, a month you can do a month. But
what about lipo?
That's what we're talking about.
Okay, perfect.
Do you tell the brides like, look, for the last fitting of your dress, I wouldn't recommend for you to do, like, do you tell them a time frame before the wedding, like get your last fitting 2 weeks before your day or something like that? Because inevitably, like they might be on this crash diet and then, you know, get off of it at the last minute and all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah. I do. And I get very involved with their lifestyle. So I'm like, what are you doing right now? And if I'm listening, so if they tell me like, oh, I'm going on a juice cleanse, and I'm like, all right, let's make sure that you get fitted one last time before, because, you know, you're going to likely drop a couple pounds pretty dramatically.
So let's talk about that juice cleanse. What do you mean? Like, I'm like, drop a couple pounds, what?
I know. I'm like, what? Yeah.
Do you recommend that for all your patients? Do you tell them? And how many days do you recommend for them to be on a pure cleanse? I mean, I know about a 3-day cleanse, a 5-day cleanse. Like, do you recommend that for people?
I mean, it's kind of like that backup thing where I've had clients do it because they're like, I just need to lose that little bit more. Okay. But usually I have sent them to my nutritionist and trainer that does that for them, so that to make sure that they're doing it safely. Because here's the last thing I want is for my bride to end up in the hospital because she went on a juice cleanse and spiked her sugar levels, and now she's not ready for the wedding. So it's really, really scary on my end to make sure that they're healthy.
And if you have anybody that like goes on just colonics and this and that, like there are people that are like,
oh, I've seen, heard it all, crazy things, because I'm like, no, you don't need to do that, but just, you know, make sure you drink water. And
what was one of the strangest things that anyone did?
Strangest things, I mean, the colonics for sure, but even I've tried that and I thought it was great, but it didn't do for me what I wanted it to, but I tried it. Gentle.
And what about party favors? What are the trends for party favors? Is it, and then, you know, then we talk about party favors for all the guests. And then we also talk, like the Godiva chocolate was historically what everyone used to do.
Yeah.
Are they still doing that? And also, what about bridesmaids or groomsmen gifts? Can you touch upon that?
So yeah, actually, favors are and aren't happening as much as they used to. What they're doing is, like, there's often a photo booth, so you know they get to take things home with them like that, or they'll do like a late night snack, or they'll do a dessert bar. So those items, like those chocolates and things like that, they'll be there and they can just take as much as they want, rather than items that get left behind, unfortunately, on the table. Because that always breaks my heart, is seeing those things get left behind, because I know that those people would appreciate it later, but they're already gone. So I usually pack up those extra things and send them home with the couple, and then they can give them to their friends later. But let's see, you just said something else.
So that was for the actual all the favors for the guests.
Oh yes.
And what about like bridesmaids gifts? What's the trend among bridesmaid gifts? And what are the trends for groomsmen?
So there's a few. There's the traditional ones with like necklaces and very dainty, simple jewelry, and for the groomsmen to have, you know, cool matching colored socks and a money clip and things that they, bow ties, you know, pocket squares, things like that. But really,
I think we did the money clip.
Yeah, they're fun. They're things you're always going to keep. I try to think of things that they're actually going to use again, or that's special, or a photo moment. So like the socks, things like that. But like I was telling you, I'm like, forget all that. Let's send the girls, let's send the guys for a really cool spa day, or send the IV bags, things like that. I'd rather them have things that are going to benefit in the long run. So that salicylic peel, that's everything, because then those girls are going to look like $1 million in those pictures.
God, there was something just I was right about to ask you that I'm like, all of a sudden forgot. So it was something about the gifts. You were saying before that, the groomsmen, oh, what was it? I can't, like, drawing a blank, but it was something that I was like, oh yeah, we forgot to ask you that question. I can't think of what it is right now. Something about the gifts, something about the presents. What did we do? We did, I don't know. I can't think of what it was.
But I think it's really important to have, you know, things that are going to have benefit to them. So I'm going through this edited phase where I'm like, less is more. I'd rather have things a bigger significance. Okay, go ahead.
Do you handle the mother of the bride? Is it a trend to give the mother of the bride a gift as well?
I often work with the mother of the bride, actually. But yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of really nice gifts lately. So a lot of times the bride will often give her bridesmaids, for instance, a really nice piece of jewelry, like a diamond necklace that's literally just a gold chain and a little tiny diamond here. And then they'll do something very similar for the mother, where it'll be something like that, but maybe a little bit bigger, or some diamond earrings, things like that.
And what about the bachelorette party and the bachelor party? Do you help with that as well? Do you recommend, are people doing it anymore? You know.
I kind of stay out of that. That's usually the bridal party is excited to plan that. So I'm like, go have fun, do your thing. Don't do anything that's gonna jeopardize our wedding. But yeah, I let the bridal party handle that.
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly look to see if there is anything here, any questions that people ask. I don't think so, because I think we went over everything. There are more like comments. If there's anything else that you can think of that you think we did not touch upon, that you think is important for brides to know or grooms to know if they're looking.
Pretty much would say, you know, it's important to think about looking your absolute best for this special day, because you're going to have these photos for the rest of your life. So it's important to also, you know, diet, fitness, looking the best you can from the long term. So if you've got a year, then you better start at the beginning of that year to really start with the physical side, but also your skincare.
That's right here.
Yeah. Your skincare, but going in to get your consultation and see like what you have for options and how soon you need to get started with that. Because we were talking about the micro peels and things like that. You've got to do that in sessions, and you have to start early. So,
well, that was microneedling.
Microneedling, thank you. Yeah.
So yeah. So if it's a texture issue and somebody wants to change the texture of their skin, then that would be more like the microneedling, and, you know, or lasers or something like that. But it depends. I mean, usually it's the mother or the bride that needs the most work, unless somebody is a more advanced age bride, or it's their second or third wedding or something like that. Then, you know, they might need a little bit more work than, you know, somebody who's 24. I mean, I don't know if people are getting married that young anymore. I mean, I guess some people are, but
not often.
Yeah. Right. It's typically people are 30 plus. And in that case, you know, a lot of times people do have a lot of sun damage, you know, and they think, oh, in my 20s, I really don't need to wear sunblock, or I don't need to do this. And then by the time they're 30, they're like, oh my God, my skin. That's what I hear. It's usually the milestones. 30, 40, 50 is when people really at 40 start to panic. And, you know, and at 50, it's like, you feel like, oh my God, I need help. You know, and then you really need to start being smarter about your product choices. Like, don't spend like a ton of money at store-bought stuff where you're spending the money on the packaging and you have crappy ingredients.
Yeah.
You want things that are going to give you results, and you want the best ingredients, where the packaging is okay, you know, or nice and simple. But the main thing that you're paying for is the actual ingredients that are going in your face. You know, and he loves, like, you know, in your face. He loves like the filler in the bottle, and I love the growth factor. Those are our two favorite products. But, you know, the line is amazing, and it's
the whole line.
Amount of ingredients that you get and the depth that penetrates is unmatched with anything that you'll buy at the drugstore or at like a big chain department store or something like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, me coming from a background in that field, I understand the importance of putting good quality ingredients on your face. It's preventative, and it's only going to benefit you in the long run. You can't fake that. You can't do that in a weekend. You have to start early. So it's really important, and that's what I guide my clients is we're going to get you on a good regimen of good quality. So your entire skincare line, I'm in. I like it, and I've been referring it because I actually see it.
Are you using a retinol as well?
Yeah, you just got me on that. I just got my skin smooth, no more itchy, crazy texture. So now I can start the retinol. So I'm actually excited. We'll see that in a week.
What I love about our retinol is that, which one did I give you? The super serum, or I gave you the higher, I mean the 0.25% or the higher percentage? It's a
I'm
0.5.
not sure. It's the one that just says it's gentle.
Okay, then that's probably the 0.25%,
Yeah.
which contains vitamin C. But after you get used to that and you go to the 0.5 or the 1%, then they contain vitamin C and E. So they also help even out your skin tone and mute out like the reds and the browns and things like that. So like a lot of people have to use a secondary product, which is like a CE ferulic or something like that, in addition to the retinol. But ours contains both in one, which is awesome.
Got it.
And so over time, you're going to see your results. But it is definitely that consistency. I started using retinol in my 20s, and I'm trying to get him. I'm trying to get him to use it.
Listen, Sven does it. Sven does it. You do it.
He's a one product kind of guy. I'll be happy with the one product.
Well, we're taking Sven in next. He actually already said, he's like, I'm going in because he wants to go in and do the microneedling, and he wants to get started on the skincare. So you're gonna see him in there.
Yay! I can't wait. I love like seeing people's skin transform and the glow that it comes, and I love like just the feedback has been just amazing for the products.
Yeah. I can attest. I'm like, if to go from that rough texture before to this is huge, because it was so dry here. I mean, just peeling every single day. So this is good.
Yeah, because I think you mentioned like my skin's so dry all the time, and I'm like, okay, you need this. Remember, you're like, that was one of your big complaints too, was like the dryness.
Yeah, my mom even said, she was like, oh, your skin looks really good. And I'm like, thank you for noticing.
Yeah. So 20% off, everyone can get 20% off anything in our skincare line for being part of this live. And it would be YovinoMDskincare.com. And you put in that code that's right at the bottom. It says Brooke20 for 20% off, which is one of our highest codes that we give out, because we like you so much.
Oh, thank you.
But this was awesome. Anything else that you want to touch upon or you want people to know?
I'm excited. I'm excited. So I'll be back to talk about all the things that we're going to be doing over the next year, because I'm all about it.
And then let's also, another thing that I just wanted to mention is that you don't only handle weddings. You are an event planner for everything. Like you almost planned my big birthday, but you couldn't because you were getting married that weekend, so I couldn't hold it against you, even though my event was canceled because of COVID. But, you also handle all different kinds of events. Like you handle big birthdays. You handle, like, go through the list of all the different, some of the ideas of things that you also handle.
Product launches, red carpet events, grand openings, anything we can that's an event I've handled. So we're in.
Okay, awesome. Well, I can't wait to work with you moving forward on more projects. And we thank you so much for, being part of this. And maybe when we rekindle and do our vows over again,
we're glamping.
In we're gonna glamp. We'll do a Burning Man wedding or something, because hopefully Burning Man will be up. No, I'm kidding.
Joshua Tree.
Tree. We'll do that for our big 20th.
Aw, I'm excited.
So,
thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Love you, Brooke.
Love you.
Part of the live. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I go here. No, there. Okay.